Hey Dan Vegas, this is Laura, and I'm super excited to be bringing you week 3 of Love and Hate. Just know that I miss you guys, and I can't wait for us to hang out. If you missed the last 2 weeks, make sure you go back and watch those. Mark and Chloe did a great job, and so you don't want to miss those. But let's go ahead and get into week 3. So this week we're going to be talking about reputations, and one of the best ways to kind of wrap your head around what a reputation is, or that kind of thing, is thinking about stores. So companies literally spend billions of dollars each year trying to control their brand's reputation. And so they try to control the look, the smell, what they're known for. Like they spend so much money trying to make sure that their brand is known for good things. So a couple of companies that you probably would recognize based on their branding and their reputation would be like 2 Days or Less or lightning fast shipping. That would be Amazon. Low prices always. Walmart. And then there's been, I don't know if you guys have watched it on Facebook or not, but there has been this fight or argument between Chick-fil-A and Popeyes to be branded the best chicken sandwich ever. So again, that's their reputation on the line, and so they're going to spend billions of dollars to try to formulate your opinion on them based on what they want you to think. So we spend way more time thinking about companies' reputations or that kind of stuff rather than on our own reputation. We actually spend very little time, if you think about it, on our own reputation. So our reputations are made up of all sorts of things, and they bring out all kinds of assumptions about who we are. And so I want you guys to think about the kids in your school and fill in the blank when I say something to kind of see if you can understand what I'm talking about. So every rich kid is blank. The white, black, Hispanic, Asian kids are blank. People with TikTok clout are the honor students, AP students, they're all blank. Oh, this is a good one. What about the football cheerleaders are blank? Kids who vape are blank. So we all in our minds make these assumptions. And don't think it's just teenagers. Like literally everyone does this. It's just a part of being human. And so even though we don't say these things out loud, or at least we shouldn't, we tend to fill in blanks about other people, and we assume that we know more about them than we actually do, based on one behavior or based on one situation. And so we make assumptions and we formulate their reputation of what they're going to be known for based on these assumptions. And so where do these assumptions really come from? And so they come from experiences. They come from, what the kids have done, what the people have done. You've seen them do one thing. They've acted a certain way. And so we go, well, based on my experience with you, you're always this or that or whatever it is. And then so we also formulate ideas and reputations based on our insecurities. And so sometimes our assumptions are formed on filling in the blank when someone has something that maybe we wish we had. Maybe you don't like the star football player because you wish you had a position on the team. Maybe you formulate an opinion based on something because you didn't make it or you didn't do whatever they did. And so a lot of the assumptions that we make tend to be bad. They're not really great. So if you think about those blanks that you just filled in your head, most of them were probably negative. And so we tend to do that naturally. Like I said, it's not just a teenage thing, it's a human thing. So let's kind of talk about how Jesus can relate to this. And so there was a moment in Jesus' life where he was in the middle of tension that was brought out by, brought about by religious leaders. And so in John chapter 8, verse 3 through 6, the Pharisees brought this woman who was caught in this R-rated situation, And they dragged her in front of Jesus to see how he would handle her punishment, because literally she was like caught in committing adultery. And so back then they were told you basically had to throw stones at her until she died. And so they were trying to catch Jesus and mess up his reputation, and kind of like prove that he was a phony by seeing what his reaction would be. But Jesus really, really handled this situation amazing. So let's kind of look at that scripture real quick. Like I said, we're in John 8, verse 3 through 6. As he was speaking, the teachers of the religious law and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. They put her in front of the crowd. "Teacher," they said to Jesus, "this woman was caught in the act of adultery, and the law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say?" They were trying to trap him into saying something they could use against him. So don't miss this. The text literally says she was caught in adultery. Not that, hey, we think she's doing this. No, they literally walked in on her doing this. So my question is, how'd they know? Anyway, new topic. So let's get back on topic. So we assume that she was already pretty embarrassed because she was caught in the middle of doing something she wasn't supposed to, just like we all kind of get embarrassed. And she knew what the law said. She knew that the law said that she had to be stoned. So she probably was expecting the worst. And so she's expecting the worst. The Pharisees are like, haha, we got you now. You're either going to have to stone her, or we're going to say that you don't really follow the law, and then you're a phony and you don't know what you're talking about. So let's look at what happened next. But Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his finger. They kept demanding an answer. So he stood up again and said, "All right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone." Then he stooped down again and wrote in the dust. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, "Where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you?" "No, Lord," she said. And Jesus answered, "Neither do I. Go and sin no more." I don't know if you guys have been through the journey or not, but hopefully when we can get back into all this, normal stuff, either we'll do a Easter redo or next year. But this room in the journey is my favorite. The way we have it set up is there's literally small rocks. And so the screen is showing, Jesus writing in the sand, and we don't know what he wrote, but literally you can hold a stone in your hand and be like, feel that pressure. Because when I go into that room, I just think of all the sins that I've done and all of the assumptions that I've made about other people and how I have called them out for their sin, but yet I don't want them to call out mine. And so it just really puts it into perspective. So if you've never done that, we definitely need to get you through the journey whenever we have it next, so that you can really experience that. It's very, very powerful. Anyway, back to my notes. So, can you imagine the tension that is in this moment? So let's put the picture into perspective. All the Pharisees and religious leaders are like, "You need to stone her. What do you say?" All that kind of stuff. And Jesus says, "Whoever doesn't have sin, throw the first stone. Let's see who's going to go first." And then Jesus started writing something in the ground. And like I said, we don't know what it is, but my mind kind of is imagining Jesus is putting their sin in front of everybody. Maybe there was somebody who had lied, and so he's writing their lies out. Maybe there's somebody who stole something. He's writing their crimes down. And so then when they're faced with the truth of, well, I don't want my stuff out there, then they kind of back off. And so I think that is very, very crucial in what we do, is that we need to look at ourselves before we start looking at other people. So, and it says those who were oldest went first. So the longer we've been around, obviously, the more chances we've had to sin. So that's kind of why I think that like Jesus was putting their sins in the ground. But again, that's my speculation. Look it up for yourself. I challenge you to read the scriptures and get into some some really studies and see what you think. Maybe you've got a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. We can talk about it. But anyway, like I said, one by one, each Pharisee left. And so until it was literally just Jesus and this woman who had been caught in adultery. And so Jesus had two choices. He had, he could have, stoned her. He could have done anything, but, he chose the way of kindness and gentleness and stuff, that he's known for. And so he had a message for both her and the Pharisees, that it's possible for your future to be different than what your past was. So your future is not determined by that one action you made or the 12 actions you made in your past. And so Jesus proves that we are more than the assumptions and judgments that others make about us, that we are worthy of forgiveness and grace and a second chance because his love for us. And we can extend that same forgiveness, grace, and love to others. Like I said, we have a choice. We can either stand with the crowd and start throwing stones and forgetting our own sins and, basically being a hypocrite, or we can be like, you know what? You're not who you used to be. You're not that one action. You're not that one bad decision. You can change. And so the bottom line of this message is let love fill in that blank. So whatever blank you put in about that cheerleader or that person who vaped or, all those things that were in your mind, let love fill in those blanks first. So we have a couple of opportunities when assumptions and judgments and stuff start coming at us and how we can approach these. You guys know we like to give you, kind of steps that you can do it and how you can apply this to your life, because it's real easy to be like, yeah, I can do that. But if you don't know how to apply it, it can be difficult. So what I would say is, number one, stop and think about how others have filled in blanks for you and how you don't like that and how you don't want to be known for that one mistake that you made. You're more than that. And so you want to give others that opportunity as well. And so number two would be, think about how you've wrongly filled in the blank of someone else. Who is someone that you think you know that you really don't? Who have you filled in a blank for somebody in a negative way that you learned the complete opposite was true? You made this assumption in your mind and then you were like, oh wait, that's not quite how I pictured that was going to go down. So again, stop and think about how others have filled in the blank for you, and then think about how you've wrongly filled in the blank for somebody else. When we choose to follow Jesus' example and take these steps, we are choosing to let love fill in the blank instead of our quick and shallow assumptions and judgments of people that we don't even know. Like I said, we don't want people to do that to us, so we need to follow Jesus' example. One of the parts of the scripture that I really want you guys to get and to understand is what Jesus said to her at the very end of this encounter. He said, go and sin no more. So in that sentence, he's saying, I know you did it. You were caught. But go, change your life, and do something different. And so allow other people that opportunity. Don't make assumptions about them. Don't assume that you know them all, their past. We all have a different story. We all have different things that we've gone through. And so I would just say be careful, about the assumptions that you make about people and their reputations. Because once somebody's reputation has been damaged, it's really hard to change. But anyway, I really, really appreciate you guys sticking through this with me. Like I said, I miss you guys, and I can't wait for us to hang out again. I love y'all, and just know that I'm here. If you want to talk to anybody, I would encourage you, reach out to your small group leaders. We are here for you. We may not be able to actually meet, but we want to talk about maybe your feelings and your thoughts about the message. So make sure that you can hit us up on social media. A lot of you have our numbers. If you don't, call the church line. And, we'll get you phone numbers to your small group leaders. We love you guys, and we just want to do life together. Can't wait to see you guys. Bye.